Dr. Shaw in our dose of medical drama with the young doctors.
Hey. Sit down. I'm sorry, Julie. I knew you'd have to face a situation like that before long.
It's horrible.
I know. I was against you becoming a nurse because I wanted to hide you from things like that.
I should have listened to you.
I'm glad you didn't. I was wrong. Sister Jeffries was right when she said you were not a kid anymore. It won't be so bad the next time.
Peter, there won't be a next time. I'll go home like you wanted me to.
I don't want you to go home now. Look, I think you'll make a good nurse.
I can't stay.
Julie, a lot of trainee nurses cry like you did when they first work in casualty. It's only natural. But they don't just give up. They stick it out. You can't keep running away from your problems like that.
Okay, I'll stay.
Good. I should warn you that I'm going to be tough on you. Tougher than I am on the others. But that's because you'll have to be the best nurse in the hospital. Come on now. It's a busy hospital. Let's get back to work, eh?
I know, but I suppose I've got to do it if we want to be nurses.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, okay. We're just on our way to a lecture. Damien, meet Bronte Fisher and Pam Austin.
Well, the talent's getting better and better around here. Might even decide to stay.
Haven't I seen you somewhere before?
You've probably seen his photo. He's a champion surfer.
Really?
Oh, sorry, no autographs whilst I'm on duty.
Oh, so good and so modest. Hey, we'd better go in or we'll be late.
Yeah.
See you later, champ.
How about a sandwich at lunchtime? Meet me in the staff room?
Oh, I'd like that, but I'm not sure what time the lecture finishes.
I'll check it out.
Okay, I'll see you then. Bye.
What's so great about her apart from her brother?
Don't crowd me, Virginia. She's a nice girl and she's new. She can use a friend.
How come you never mentioned that Dr. Stoddard was your mother?
What's so important about it?
Just seems a bit weird, that's all.
Have I asked you who your parents are? What they do? What makes them tick?
That's different. Your mother's a doctor. I see her around. What does she think of her son being an orderly?
You'll have to ask her.
No need to get so touchy about it.
Dr. Steele will be getting very touchy if I don't get back.
I'll phone Mrs. Snow and tell her how well John's doing. Too soon for her to visit, do you think?
No, probably doing good.
Dr. Denham will see you in half an hour, if that's convenient. Thank you.
Did you realize that young Swift is Dr. Stoddard's son?
No, I didn't. I suppose I'd presuppose that your son... finish his studies and do medicine. Yes, that's what we hope, too. But what parents want and what their children decide to do doesn't always add up, does it? I'd like to make a few telephone calls while I'm waiting. Perhaps you could direct me to a telephone I could use. Yes, of course.
What is it that you find so amusing?
Two headstrong women, sizing each other up and being extremely civilized about it.
That just about sums up your attitude toward the female sex, doesn't it?
Meaning?
You find them amusing.
Oh, I always thought that was part of the master plan.
You know, I was right about you in the first place.
You think so?
You are not ready for a serious relationship. Maybe you never will be.
I thought you'd appreciate the unpredictable.
Oh, I do. As a novelty. Permanently, I think it would get rather tedious.
Dr. Shaw, is it all right to go and see Tania for a few minutes?
Oh, the more friends she sees, the better. And if you can possibly get her talking about what's troubling her, maybe we can make some sort of a breakthrough. If we don't do it soon, there'll be a physical problem as well as an emotional one.
I don't think she'll confide in me.
Well, at this stage, we've got to try everything. And everyone.
No word from Garcia?
No.
Well, I'll talk to him.
Peter.
I have a problem.
I thought I was supposed to be the one with the problem.
You remember me talking about my sister Julie?
Yes, I do. She's still at school, right?
Wrong. She's right here in the hospital.
She's not sick.
She's a trainee nurse as of this week.
But she's not old enough.
Unfortunately, just old enough.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
She had a bit of an upset at home. She ran away and ended up in Sydney. I'm such a genius, I thought if I gave her a good time and treated it just like a holiday, she'd come to her senses and go home.
Well, what happened?
I got Jeffries to talk to her. I was convinced that she'd persuade her to forget nursing and go back to her schooling. But it backfired.
Oh, well, if that's what she really wants to do.
Well, it is, but she really got very mad with me when I tried to talk her out of it.
I think playing the big brother was probably the worst thing you could have done. What do your parents think?
They put the ball back in my court. Is it okay if I bring her up later to talk to you?
Yeah, I'd like that.
Feel like talking?
Look, Tony hasn't been back to see me. I just don't understand it. Peter, do you think you could find out what's happened?
Yeah, I'll try. Look, I better get back to work. Okay, see you later.
Bye.
Watching someone set up for the next patient may not be the most exciting thing you've ever done in your life. But you'll be doing a lot of it for the next few months, so I suggest you observe and learn the correct way of doing it.
Not much point bringing trainee nurses in to observe casualty while you're around, Dr. Holland. They're watching you and not what's happening.
And you're watching them, which doesn't say much for your concentration either.
I didn't think you'd approve of your sister getting mixed up with an orderly.
Save the chit-chat for the staff room, nurse.
Well, you won't be so calm when she takes off with him. He's a champion servant. You don't expect him to stick around here for long, do you?
Nurse will arrange for your prescription to be filled. Take the patient out, please.
Yes, doctor.
I'm looking for Dr. Richards.
Oh, I think she's in workroom 5.
Did you make any progress with Tania?
I'm afraid not.
Well, I think it's time we brought a psychiatrist in. Need someone more qualified in that area to deal with the problem. I'll give Kingsmere a ring and see if we can set up an appointment as soon as possible.
Right.
There'll be another lecture this afternoon, then we'll give you some practical in the wards. Okay? Look, I think it's best if you go and take your lunch break now and avoid the rush in the canteen. Okay, excuse me.
Introduce us.
Not now.
Doesn't smile much, does he?
He does when there's something to smile about. Right now, he's not too impressed at you. She's standing there gawking at him. Come on.
I hope they didn't irritate you too much at that highly impressionable stage at the moment. But they'll settle down.
I hope so.
Raymond, I phoned over half a dozen times. There's no answer.
Did you double-check the number?
Naturally. Look, why don't you call some of her friends? Maybe they could explain.
Well, I wouldn't know where to start. After we were married, Janet lost track of most of them. Her whole life revolved around me. And I let her down.
Oh, that's history. For both of you. Look, if she still lives in the house, maybe she has things delivered. Like newspapers, milk, things like that. Now, why don't you have that checked out?
No, I don't know what to do. Things are still pretty delicate with Erica. If she were to even hear that I was making inquiries about my first wife, it would ruin everything. I'm still hopeful right now that Erica will come back and start things anew. I wouldn't ask this except...
Raymond, it has nothing to do with me. Okay, look, I'll phone once again. And if there's no answer, I get off early, I'll go around and see if she's there. But I won't take it any farther.
Yes, of course.
Somebody recently told me that I spend too much of my life living it through other people. I think maybe there's some truth to that.
I wouldn't ask, but I can't help feeling anxious.
There is probably a simple explanation.
I hope so. Thank you.
Oh, I'm surprised to see you in casualty. Must have been a short lecture.
It was, but it was interesting.
I make a pretty neat bed, don't I?
Very professional.
You'd be the only one who noticed. Ours were too busy freaking out over your brother.
Oh, Damien, could I have a few words with you? Well, aren't you going to introduce us?
Oh, yeah, sure. Julie Holland, Dr. Marion Stoddard.
Hello.
Are you any relation to Dr. Holland?
Yes, he's my brother. I'll go ahead and get some sandwiches and meet you in the staff room, Damien.
Okay.
And why didn't you tell her that I was your mother? Seems to be common knowledge in the hospital now.
Then she'll find out sooner or later, won't she? You're not too thrilled about me being here anyway.
That's not true. At least you're doing an honest day's work.
Oh, but an orderly. Bit of a come down for the professor's son.
Your father and I both wanted you to have a decent education and the chance of a worthwhile career like we've been lucky enough to have. But the fact that you're doing something constructive, it pleases me. The only thing that worries me is you've never been able to stick at anything. How long is this going to last, Damien? You've never been able to take anything seriously.
They can use a few laughs here.
It wasn't very funny letting your friend John Snow down this morning. That's quite typical. You're so thoughtless. You never think that you might be hurting other people.
Then the sooner I blow through, the better. If I'm not here, you won't have to worry about it.
Are you going to throw it in?
You've already made up your mind that I will, haven't you? If you'll excuse me, there's someone waiting. I have to go.
Well, that was good. But the next time I ask you to lunch, we're not settling for a sandwich or you answering the telephone in between bites, right?
I do have an awful lot to do today. I hope Dr. Denham isn't very much longer. He has to see Dr. Stoddard in a minute.
It's funny the way none of us connected young Damien with it. I mean, she's not your average proud mum, is she?
Yes, I always thought it was a bit odd. He's very reluctant to talk about his background.
Well, it's time to go. Oh, where are we going to have dinner tonight?
Are we having dinner tonight, Doctor?
Well, of course. I mean, you are still interested in my ideas on raising research money, aren't you?
I'm very flattered that you want to spend so much time with me, Doctor, but what do you hope to get out of it?
Oh, I rather hoped it's what you might get out of it. A little pleasure, perhaps.
That goes without saying.
Well, thanks for the coffee. Mrs. Stoddard.
I'm afraid he's still tied up at the moment, but he shouldn't be very much longer. Would you like to sit down for a moment?
Thank you.
I'm terribly sorry if I spoke out of turn just now about Damien, but I was surprised. I did expect him to follow in his parents' footsteps.
Yes, well, a lot of people have expected that, including his mother and father. But somewhere along the way, we lost him. I was talking to him a little while ago, but there's no hope. We're just not communicating at the moment.
I do understand. With my daughter Jill, there was a time when I despaired of ever getting to know her.
Where is she now?
Nursing away from home. But I like to think that we are friends now. You know, boys are even more complex. Roger was a little boy, doing his lessons, obeying his mother, and, well, the next minute he was touring with a rock band and behaving like somebody I hadn't remotely known.
But has he stuck with it?
Yes, he's done very well. They grow up, I suppose. It's as simple as that.
I can't see any future for Damien at the moment.
Well, there didn't seem much future when Roger became a paraplegic. Just a simple accident at a swimming pool. Oh, nothing dramatic like surfing or skiing. Just a little innocent skylarking around, and Roger tripped and fell on his spine.
He must have a lot of courage to have risen above something like that.
Do you know, I think sometimes we underestimate our own children. I suppose it's because we mothers find it very difficult to let go. But we all have to, at some time. I'm terribly sorry that you're being kept waiting. Look, I'll go and organize some coffee for you.
So how long have you been waiting at the hospital?
3 months.
Why don't you ask Virginia to come and sit with us, Damien? I think she feels a bit left out.
Oh, she's okay. She's just another friend, you know, like you.
Oh.
I'm taking a leaf out of your brother's book. Why settle for one girl when you can play the field? Would you like to come to the beach again?
I would, but I'd better check with Peter first. He seemed a bit annoyed that I went to the surf carnival with you.
Coming the big brother bit, is he?
Not exactly, but, well, he is responsible for me. He told Mum and Dad he'd keep an eye on me.
Yeah, but Dad know you're not the sort to kick up your heels. It's a different story with those birds.
Yeah, well, you know how parents are.
Yeah, but they'd know you're going to take this nursing thing seriously.
Of course.
I wanted to talk to you, Julie.
Oh, right. She's, all yours, Doc. So are they, I'd say.
I was going to buy you lunch in the canteen, but I couldn't find you.
I'm sorry. Damien asked me to come and sit with him.
I was watching you in Casualty earlier. You're not in there for the laughs, you know.
What do you mean? I was paying attention.
When you weren't giggling at Swift's antics. Julie, you've got to take this nursing thing seriously. There are no shortcuts. It's hard work and a ton of studying. If you can't accept that right now, then forget it. There's plenty of time for fun after the exams.
If you've finished your lecture, I do have another one coming up.
I am responsible for you, remember that.
Yes, Doctor.
Ready to come to the lecture room, Julie?
Peter, this is Pam Austin. And Bronte Fisher.
I enjoyed watching you this morning, Doctor.
I noticed.
You looked awfully experienced for such a young doctor.
Yeah, well, I think we'd better go.
Will you be giving us any lectures, Doctor?
Not officially.
Pity. I think I could learn a lot from you. Ready, Bronte?
I'll spend all afternoon thinking about you now instead of listening to the lecture.
Get yourself another friend. That one won't last 6 weeks. Now, you better nip off.
Yeah.
I'll meet you back here in your tea break and I'll take you up to see Tania, okay?
Okay.
And you'd better be able to tell me what that lecture's about.
I plugged the phone in by the bed. They're talking now.
I've spent a small fortune on STD trying to track Tony down. I'll hear about that from Snape. Well, it could be the break we're hoping for.
You say he phoned from Melbourne?
Well, according to Laura, he set up the Melbourne appointment before he went off to Spain. Didn't discuss it with anyone.
She was so thrilled when I told her who was calling.
Well, let's hope it works.
Yeah.
You weren't to know. It's wonderful to hear you too. I love you, Tony. He didn't know about the accident until you spoke to him, Dr. Shaw. He flew straight to Melbourne after he left Spain. I've been lying here thinking about him, dreaming about him. I've been so mixed up. And then to speak to him like that on the phone, he was so sweet.
Tania, how do you like my flower?
Smart as usual.
I'm very sorry that you had to wait, but it's very difficult sometimes to anticipate just how long these interviews are going to take.
Yes, of course. I phoned John Snow's mother, and she's calling to see him tonight. Oh, Doctor, thank you very much for all your help.
You're welcome.
And thank you for the coffee and the chat.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So you've been passing a spot of your worldly wisdom onto her too, eh?
We've been talking about our children. Mine had exactly the same teenage problems before they grew out of them.
I realise this makes you at least 110, but I'll take you to dinner anyway.
Then.
Yes, I am still waiting for that card, and I'm still looking for it. Someone mixed them up. You amaze me.
It worked. The call from Tony. Tanya's all right now.
Dr. Steele is screaming for that card.
I am endeavoring to get it for him.
Do anything about Kingsby?
No need. Go up and see for yourself. Had a chance to call Janet?
Oh, yes, and she's not there. But I will sign myself off and go around just as soon as I can get that card.
I'm sorry, but they were mixed up.
Well, unmix them for the next doctor.
I feel a bit wobbly.
Oh, that'll soon pass.
Thank you. Everything is coming back to me now. I remember there was a call from Tony. He was at the airport. He couldn't wait. And then I had to go over and see Ken. I promised him, and I was feeling so mixed up and upset. And
Oh, look, don't worry about it now.
yes, but I have to speak to Ken. I have to explain everything. Look, could you find out if he's still over at Bunny's? Tell him I have to see him.
All right, I'll phone through.
Or could you do it now? It's really very urgent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, brought you a visitor.
You must be Julie.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about you.
I'm glad you're better. Peter's talked a lot about you, too.
Thank you.
Well, what our patient needs now is some nice, gentle exercise.
Peter, I spoke to Tony on the phone.
How about we walk and talk? I've only got a few minutes.
Oh, okay. You won't forget?
No, I won't forget.
How about giving the patient a hand? Nurse? Thank you.
What exactly happened?
I don't know. Dr. Richards just told me to contact you and ask you to come down to reception immediately.
I'll be right there.
What gives?
Oh, Dr. Richards just said to get you quickly. There's some sort of emergency that's come in and Dr. Steele's tied up.
Have you contacted Dr. Shaw?
Yes, I have.
What is it?
It's Janet.
Well, what's happened? Some kind of accident?
Well, they're bringing her through now. I don't know. It seems to be a bad reaction to something she's taken.
Then perhaps it wasn't an accident.
Julie's sweet, isn't she?
And good nursing material, I'd say.
It might slow Dr. Holland down having his little sister around. You can see he's terribly fond of her, can't you?
Yes, a mutual admiration society, those two.
Did you have any luck? Were you able to contact Ken?
No, I wasn't.
But I have to get in touch with him somehow.
Don't get upset about it.
But I have to tell him how I feel. I have to tell him that I just can't marry him.
He already knows that. It was Ken Hansen that sat by your bed and held your hand. Not Tony.
The Young Doctors are back at the same time tomorrow afternoon.